The winter air in Oslo feels tense and expectant, as if the cold itself is waiting for something to happen. In the Norwegian capital, preparations for one of the world's most prestigious ceremonies are unfolding around the Grand Hotel, where lights are being adjusted beneath balconies, security officers stand at quiet attention, and journalists gather in growing numbers. They are all here for what should be a celebration, the awarding of the Nobel Peace Prize to Venezuelan opposition leader María Corina Machado. But instead of certainty, Norway has been met with silence, confusion, and a deepening question: where is the laureate? Hours before the event, a press conference was suddenly cancelled. Interviews planned with major outlets were first postponed, then removed from the calendar entirely. The Nobel Institute had announced over the weekend that Machado would attend in person, that she would step onto the stage to receive a gold medal, a diploma, and a financial award worth $1.2 million. Her arrival was supposed to be a moment of symbolic triumph for a politician who has lived for years under threat, surveillance, and political persecution. But on this day, the press conference room remained empty, and phones in Oslo repeated the same message: no information, no confirmation, and no appearance. Outside the Grand Hotel, police officers oversee the entrance. Their presence is discreet but unmistakable, reflecting both the security needs of the ceremony and the uncertainty surrounding the most important guest of the night. Journalists look toward each other, trying to understand whether the absence is a temporary inconvenience or a signal of something much more serious. For a figure like Machado, any delay invites speculation. She has been living in hiding since August 2014. Her last public appearance dates back months to the period after the disputed July 2014 presidential elections in Venezuela, elections that ended with Nicolás Maduro's contested re-election, a result rejected by the opposition and criticized by international observers. In the refined interior spaces of Oslo, the contrast with the past decade of Venezuelan political reality could not be greater. When Christian Berg Harpviken, director of the Norwegian Nobel Institute, speaks to cameras, he maintains a tone of cautious reassurance. In English, he states, "I realize there is some excitement surrounding whether the laureate will arrive. She has said she will be here for the celebrations. I don't know how she is traveling, I don't know when she will arrive, but I am still confident that she will be here in time for the celebrations." His words are calm, but the uncertainty inherent in them echoes beyond the hotel walls. There is excitement, yes, but also anxiety. Machado was barred from running in Venezuela's 2024 elections. She insisted that Maduro robbed victory from her chosen candidate, Edmundo González. She published vote data she said proved fraud. The government dismissed her claims and has repeatedly denied her legitimacy. Her campaign, her speeches, and even her public image were systematically targeted. Supporters refer to her as the most visible face of Venezuelan democratic aspirations. Her opponents describe her as a destabilizing force supported by foreign interests. Yet the Nobel Committee framed their decision clearly, saying they were honoring her for her tireless work in support of the democratic rights of the Venezuelan people and for her struggle for a just and peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy. The award announcement in October immediately placed international focus on Venezuela's political crisis. For the Norwegian organisers, this was not a moment about geopolitics, but about individual courage, persistence, and democratic principle. But in the days leading up to the ceremony, the question of Machado's personal safety overshadowed even the symbolism of the prize. Her family openly admits they don't know exactly where she is. Her mother, Corina de Machado, speaks with emotional conviction, saying, "Yes, every day I pray the rosary to God the Father, to the Virgin Mary, to both of them together, so that we may have María Corina tomorrow, and if we don't have it tomorrow, it's God's will." For a moment, Oslo feels very far from Caracas. Her children also appear in Oslo, walking near the Grand Hotel, but they refuse interviews. Their silence mirrors the uncertainty surrounding their mother's situation. It also reinforces the atmosphere of secrecy and danger that has surrounded her life for more than a decade. Venezuelan politics is not simply a matter of elections or parliamentary debates. It is a struggle marked by arrests, exile, and fear. Machado's former campaign manager, Magali Maida, rejects one possibility that keeps resurfacing: exile. In energetic tones, she warns that suggestions Machado might remain abroad misunderstand her entirely. She says she's going and she's not going to return, and she's going to stay in exile. That doesn't exist. They don't know her. That's like telling a mother she's going to stop loving her children. That's not an option. The comparison might feel emotional or dramatic, but for Machado's supporters, her return to Venezuela is not a detail. It is a declaration of loyalty to the people who supported her through years of repression. Dozens of Venezuelans living in exile have traveled to Norway to support her. They carry flags, posters, and hope. But on the streets of Oslo, another group has gathered: peace activists, left-wing organizations, and critics of US military involvement in Latin America protests outside the Nobel Institute. Their signs read "No to the Nobel Peace Prize for warmongers" and "USA, keep your hands off Latin America." They argue that Machado backed US military deployments in the Caribbean and Pacific, operations that have resulted in deadly confrontations at sea. The contrast between supporters celebrating Machado's recognition and protesters denouncing her as a proxy of US foreign policy reveals the complexity of Venezuela's political landscape as seen from abroad. It also reflects how personal narratives of democracy and human rights are often entangled with great power geopolitics. As the ceremony approaches, the Grand Hotel continues to prepare its balconies and security corridors. The official program remains unchanged. According to organizers, the Nobel lecture will be delivered, the chair of the committee will speak, and the award will be formally presented. But the ceremony will not feel complete if the laureate herself remains absent. Every hour increases global attention, and every unanswered question intensifies pressure on the Norwegian hosts. Political memory in Venezuela is full of exiles, journalists, politicians, activists forced out after elections, protests, or crackdowns. Machado has lived almost as if she were already in exile, moving carefully, communicating selectively, and remaining under threat of arrest. Returning home after receiving the Nobel Peace Prize would be more than symbolic. It could be dangerous. However, her campaign manager insists that exile is not an acceptable outcome. She repeats forcefully that Machado will return to Venezuela. Her tone reflects loyalty but also defiance. To supporters, such determination demonstrates courage. To critics, it may appear reckless. Machado's nomination emerged after years of international concern over the treatment of opposition figures in Venezuela. International organizations accused the government of systematic repression. The Nobel Committee's decision to honor her was interpreted as a powerful message that Venezuelan democratic aspirations had not been forgotten. But awarding Machado might also escalate tensions between Caracas and Oslo, and between Venezuela and the United States. Her critics highlight her support for the U.S. Southern Command, particularly military operations in the Caribbean and Pacific aimed at drug trafficking networks. They point to recent lethal actions, including the destruction of a vessel described as operated by a designated terrorist organization. The U.S. Southern Command released footage of a strike at sea, messaging that intelligence confirmed the presence of narcotics and crew members allegedly linked to international trafficking. In the video, no sound accompanies the images, only visuals of confrontation and destruction. For Venezuelans who have suffered both from drug trafficking and from government repression, evaluating these events is not simple. Some see U.S. operations as justified security measures. Others view them as imperial interference. On the streets of Oslo, these disagreements appear in the banners raised by protesters. USA do not interfere with Latin America. The phrase is direct, but the issue is complex. Latin America has long experienced foreign intervention, and public opinion across the region often interprets U.S. security actions through the lens of historical distrust. Still, for many Venezuelans in exile and at home, Machado's Nobel Prize represents something larger. It acknowledges a decade of struggle against a government accused of political intimidation, censorship, and manipulation of electoral processes. It gives international legitimacy to the argument that Venezuela's democratic rights have been violated. Inside Norway, officials emphasize that the Nobel Prize is awarded independently, without political instructions from governments. They insist that the ceremony will proceed as planned. Hartviken once again expresses confidence, repeating that he believes Machado will arrive. But even as he reassures the public, the absence of concrete information from Machado's team fuels speculation among journalists. Where is she traveling from? Has she already entered Europe? Is she moving under secrecy due to threats, or is she facing obstacles inside Venezuela? By late afternoon, Oslo transforms from calm winter light to an evening filled with expectation. The Grand Hotel remains illuminated, a symbol of tradition, diplomacy, and international recognition. From the outside, it appears ready for celebration. But inside press rooms, researchers and correspondents attempt to piece together fragmented information, hoping that an announcement will clarify the situation before the ceremony begins. At the same time, Venezuela's internal political crisis continues. Maduro's government describes Machado as a destabilizing figure. It rejects accusations of electoral fraud. State media often portray opposition leaders as agents of foreign interests, seeking to undermine national sovereignty. Supporters of the government emphasize social programs and resistance to external pressure. Supporters of Machado insist that true national sovereignty cannot exist without democratic rights and transparent elections. The Nobel Prize places these competing narratives on an international stage. The prize itself cannot resolve the Venezuelan crisis, but it highlights the issue in a way no diplomatic statement could. The ceremony becomes a symbolic confrontation between authoritarian governance and democratic aspiration. In the hotel corridors, journalists describe the atmosphere as tense but respectful. Norwegian officials refrain from speculation. Venezuelan activists speak carefully, aware that any word could put relatives in danger back home. Protesters outside continue chanting, displaying banners under the icy Norwegian sky. The tension between celebration and protest is palpable. Eventually, the ceremony must begin. The Nobel Committee, the family, the press, all must face the question of whether a laureate can receive a prize in absence. But the words spoken by Hartviken earlier continue circulating in the minds of those waiting. I am still confident that she will be here in time for the celebrations. As the night approaches, Oslo becomes the stage where an entire country's political struggle is condensed into a single moment. Whether Machado appears or not, the ceremony reveals the ongoing conflict between Venezuela's ruling power and its opposition. It exposes international divisions regarding intervention, democracy, and regional sovereignty. And it raises profound questions about what safety and political dignity mean in a world where recognition can both honor and endanger. From the halls of the Grand Hotel to the streets where protesters march, every step of this evening feels charged with history and uncertainty. There is anticipation, there is fear, and above all, there is waiting. Norway prepares to award a woman who may or may not be able to stand on the stage in her own name. And still, the world waits for María Corina Machado.